This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is Thandi, the leopardess, and she is hunting. There's some impala not far away at all. Awesome stuff. My name is TRISHALA, and I'm going to take you on your very own live African safari. Everyone, you've already just met Thandi, and she is in full stealth mode. She's hiding behind this leadwood tree in the shade of it. She's very well camouflaged. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. Now, it's a warm day out here, 23 degrees Celsius, 73 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's actually quite surprising to watch her hunting at this time. Now, my name is TRISHALA. Like I said to you, I've got BK on camera, and we're very, very excited to have found her. Now, let me tell you a little bit about how I managed to find her. I actually have a chameleon on this little tree next to her, and I came around looking for this chameleon, and she was just sitting on the other side of it. Amazing. Now, everybody, and especially our lovely SABC viewers, welcome aboard. If you've got any questions, please use the hashtag WildEarth. You can chat to us, ask us any of your questions, your comments about lovely Thandi, about the chameleon that is in the tree next to her, or about these impala that seem to be just a little bit alert. So I'm going to show them to you. They're over on this side. They were alarm calling a little bit, but they can't actually see her. Hear that? Those snorts, those are alarm calls. They can't see Thandi, but they can smell her because her scent carries in the wind. Now, they've got their heads down and they're feeding, and we just happen to be in the right place at the right time. Again, we're going to sit here and see how this unfolds. What a fantastic start. And you're going to see even more fantastic stuff, starting with Tswalu.
Good after 9. It's not after 9, it's before 9. But good afternoon from another beautiful and calm, warm day at Tswalu Kalahari. My name's Dylan, and we're going to have some really cool things to show you this afternoon. The first of which is a pair or a coalition of 2 male cheetah that caught a hartebeest during the course of the evening. So it was early hours of the morning they caught this. By the looks of it, we had another tracking team earlier, and they actually located this for us. So this is quite a thing, but these cheetah are going absolutely nowhere. Their bellies are very, very full. It is a warm day. There's a gentle breeze. But these cats don't seem to be going anywhere in a rush. Lying in the shade, both of them. Like I say, there is a bit of a breeze, but they're so sheltered from the wind. Dizzy has just asked, will male cheetahs get along if they cross paths with each other? In other words, if we had this coalition meeting up with another coalition, not normally at all. The only time that's likely would be if you've had a female that's a female that's got cubs and they're at dispersal age and they start moving away from the mother. You could get a single male joining up with another single male, but if these 2 males that are dominant in this particular area of Tswalu encountered other males, they will chase them and they will actively try to move them out of this area. And these two males have actually been implicated even in killing a female before. So we don't quite know what was going on there, but and if you think what they're capable of, I mean, they kill for a living. Yeah, there's an adult male hartebeest that they killed. So they are very, very tough, very strong animals. So their fine, delicate build belies what they're actually capable of.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to your own live safari from andBeyond Ngala. My name is Barney, and we have got Owen behind me as our cameraman for the day. We have just started our drive this afternoon, and as we drive along, just after the lodge itself, along the Timbawati River, look at what we've got for you. Big African biggest land mammal, who is busy feeding on the lush grass that's still left behind in the middle of the winter, right on the bank of the Timbawati River. Clever animal as he is, he's putting some grass out, and you every now and again see him hitting that grass against himself to get rid of the sand. He is a big, big bull. He's got a friend who is out of sight right now, who is following him around to learn where to find food and water at this time of the year. He has been not moving too much. He's moving very slowly right at the bank of the river. Look at, there are some fork-tailed drongos that are also following him around. He's such a big mammal, you can see on top of the tree there. As he walks through this long grass, he's flashing some insects. So we will watch him and let's see what he's doing. But in the meantime, I'm going to send you to Djuma to go have a look at the leopard.
Very exciting stuff, guys. These impala are coming closer to Thandi. There's she in the bottom of your screen. So difficult to see. Now Thandi's got a little cub, so she'll need to eat well. And that starts with a good hunt. And these impala are just streaming through. They know something's wrong. They can smell the predator. They're alarming. But they've decided to walk right past. This is very tense. There's some youngsters in this group. That is easy pickings. Roshni, you'd like to know if the coats of leopards differ in color to help them with the camouflage. Leopards have quite an extensive range from Asia to Africa, and their coat color can differ. In forest environments, their coat can be darker. In savanna environments, dry environments, their coat can be lighter. It all has to do with what adaptations, changes, increase their survival. If they're better camouflage, they have better hunts, and those genes for the lighter coat in the savanna are the ones that get pushed forward. But if you watch her right now, it's not the darkness of her coat that's making her blend in, but the rosettes. This is amazing and very, very fortunate. Sometimes we can drive around and not find much at all. Other times you can just stumble upon the scene. These impala are getting a little bit more comfortable, and that's going to be exactly what Thandi needs. Unbelievable. Well, let's just see what happens in this situation. guys, this is unbelievable. You know, you all have Fernando the chameleon, which you named this morning, to thank for the sighting. She's so well hidden. So well hidden. Right next to the tree. That's the tree. That's the green guari leaves you're seeing above her. That's the tree the chameleon was in this morning. Okay, I'm just going to be silent for a bit until we get the SABC viewers back. These impala are streaming through, and she is fixed. She knows exactly what she wants, and that is a good meal. Can you imagine, guys? This is happening right now, live from the Sabi sands. Amazing, amazing stuff. So please send us your questions. This is a great opportunity to watch a leopard hunting. You can see the impala all around here. Use that hashtag WildEarth. Ask us your questions, give us your comments. Let's get to know Thandi. Let's get to know what a leopard hunting is like. It's quiet, it's stealthy. It's very calculated. Peki, you say our beautiful Queen Thandi? None other. None other indeed. Thandi is the dominant female, and she has been a dominant female in this area for a long time. 13 years old, going on 14, and she's still an amazing huntress. Let's send you over to a calmer scene now with Steve, while I sit here with Thandi.
Good afternoon and welcome everybody to the second vehicle on Djuma, where we have got a herd of elephants feeding in the drainage. They have just come down from the watering hole having a drink. Hello everybody, my name is Steve FAULCONBRIDGE, joined by Craig Zammit on camera, and as always very excited to have you with us. I hope you are ready and excited for a wonderful afternoon. How splendid it is that TRISHALA managed to find Thandi. I've been trying to find tracks of that beautiful lady, and sometimes they just let them find you without much effort. So sometimes you work very hard, sometimes they pop out. But elephants in the drainage, feeding on an enormous amount of vegetation currently. Sinak, you want to know what vegetation elephants feed on? Well, it's a seasonal sort of thing. In the summer, they'll feed mainly on grass. As the winter starts to get drier and drier, they'll feed more and more on leaves over to bark and roots. But at the moment, as you can see in this depression, all the trees here are still very green. You wouldn't think we're towards the end of winter now, by the way that everything's looking. But a wonderful water table. The elephants are still doing a bit of grazing currently. That little bit of grazing is still happening. They're trying to access the roots of the grasses, and they'll also be pushing over trees, feeding on the roots of them. There's a multitude of trees that they do that with, and also many of the trees they'll gouge with their tusks to get the bark and strip the bark. When the season is right and there's lots of fruit, they will feed on fruits as well. So it is a very selective diet that elephants have, but this time of year it is majority trees with a small amount of grass and anything that's very juicy and tasty. But we are going to stay here with these elephants. We're going to send you over to andBeyond Phinda to say good afternoon.
Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. My name is Damon, and behind the camera we've got Marcel this afternoon. And speaking about vegetation, we've managed to find quite an interesting little plant for you all. Just while we've been driving around through the riverbeds here in the southern parts of andBeyond Phinda, have a look at these beautiful flowers here next to me. A beautiful kind of mauve purpley color. And this is from a plant called a misty plume bush, also called a ginger bush. And where it gets its name misty plume bush from, just imagine this plant. I mean, have a look at it flowering now at this time of year, a time when in this part of the country the grasses are turning grey and the bush is pretty dry and pretty dead, and so this vibrant kind of mauve colour against the grey background almost looks like a mist against the backdrops. And it's quite a common plant here in KwaZulu-Natal, quite a succulent plant too. Look at how thick these branches are. And wonderfully aromatic, like I said, also called a ginger bush, because if you smell the flowers, they've got the most wonderful fragrance that smells almost like ginger. And the leaves too, also quite fragrant. I'll just break off a little branch here, a little leaf. Very soft, fluffy leaves, covered in little hairs. Krishna, you're saying you love the lavender color. I suppose that's a better description than mauve. Hey, I also think it's very attractive. But speaking about lavender, Krishna, if you crush up the leaf and you smell it, and I wish there was some way for me to be able to allow you to smell this, but it smells like a mixture of rosemary and lavender. It's absolutely just wonderful. And one of the many traditional uses for this plant is that they believe that, or some cultures believe that if you have a headache and you smell the leaves, it's supposed to be a bit of a headache relief. So yeah, very pretty, and then of course very useful. Right, our plan for this afternoon, everybody, is to head into the woodlands of the mountains off to the west of us, and we're going to go in search of a mother cheetah and her 2 youngsters. So wish us luck, and hopefully we come right this afternoon.
So these cheetah boys are going absolutely nowhere in a rush. Jandra and I, we are just going to spend a little bit of time with him. But while we were sitting with his cheetah, we found someone else that actually just came buzzing around and then landed here next to the car. Probably drawn in by the proximity of this kill over here and smelling the rumen content. It's a little dung beetle. But not only that, it gets better than this. And this is, I'm sorry, I'm watching the screen, so I'm trying to make sure that, okay, wait, Jondo, tell me when it's going to work for you, Captain. Okay, if you can see right underneath there, it's incredibly difficult to see. Inside there, yeah, those tiny little spots there, all along there, those are mites. They might be. No, those are mites. So those are parasites on this dung beetle. So you can imagine the size, just how minuscule those little things are. If you look at the size of this dung beetle on my hand. Okay, there we go. So there you go. There's on my hand. That's the size of the dung beetle. So you must know how small those mites are as parasites. And a lot of insects actually have parasites of their own, be they internal or external parasites. And often you just think of an insect as, well, yeah, it's an insect and there's nothing to worry about. But I've seen bees, bees are well known. There's a thing called a varroa mite that can infest bee colonies. It's a big problem in large parts of the world. Any of you who ever pick up a dragonfly or help a dragonfly out of a swimming pool maybe, have a careful look at those dragonflies. You'll often find all sorts of little parasites on those insects as well. So parasites are not just something that affects larger animals, eh? Mrs. Lapwing asked, does this beetle smell like dung? Well, the only way to find out is to find out. It doesn't. It smells like Chanel number 5. I think, no, that's no offense intended whatsoever. I'm just saying, no, it doesn't smell like dung. It does not smell like dung. Hey, little guy.
Oh, but Dylan, sometimes they do. Sometimes they certainly do. I think Dylan needs to smell a few more dung beetles for us. What do you say? Now, these impala are still very, very alert, and Thandi has snuck off to actually come around them a little bit wider. Can you hear those birds? And a squirrel? It's just in the distance because she's actually a little bit west of them. But this tall grass means that I can't see her. And if I can't see her, that is great because it means that the impala can't see her either. Look at them, some of their heads down. She is around here, and I will be very surprised if she does not get a kill this afternoon. Amazing, amazing stuff. Okay, guys, I think it's going to be very difficult to get through this block. But I see a bit of a path there. It's important at this point to make sure that we're not disturbing our hunt in any way. That's why when we had the view of her, it was excellent because we were away from her. And we could see both the hunter and the hunted. I heard the squirrel alarming up here, and that's the direction she came in. It's just a log, don't worry. There's nothing like this feeling. You know she's around here, but where is she? Hopefully we'll find her.
Yeah, so these boys have done absolutely nothing for the past couple of minutes. One, all he did was lift his head, look around, and then put it down again. So that kill that they got there, I mentioned it briefly earlier, is a red hartebeest bull. And it's quite a dense thicket for them to have caught it in. Normally, these hartebeests tend to be found on Tswalu in the more open areas. So it could be that they actually chased it down off one of the dunes into this thicket and caught it here. And just please remember, if anyone has questions, please just send them into #WildEarth, and we will do our absolute best to answer them if we can. If we can't, we will find the answers. That stomach is so bloated on that carcass. I'm actually amazed that they didn't even puncture it yet. And not that they'd have a reason to. Cynthia has asked a lovely question that we get asked regularly, but the answer is quite interesting, because you'll typically hear people say lions sleep for 18 hours a day, or these cheetah or leopards, whatever, will sleep for 18 hours a day. You know, these massive extended periods of sleep. And in my entire career in the outdoors, I've yet to see a lion fast asleep without batting an eyelid for 18 hours. That doesn't happen. They will sleep on and off for 18 hours. In other words, they could be awake, rolling over, scratching, going to the loo, coming back, lying down, you know, that kind of stuff, getting up, shifting position in the shade. So resting, which includes sleeping for up to 18 hours, absolutely. And same as these cheetah males. These cheetah males have been here the entire day so far. The first team that found them was round about, I stand to correction, probably 7:30-ish this morning. And they'd already had this kill and eaten quite a bit on it. So these cats have been here for, pretty much the whole day already. 12 hours, almost going on 12 hours. By the end of the show, it'll be 12 hours at least that we know of. I don't think they're going to hang around that much longer on it. Just that carcass is starting to get quite ripe. So they, and there's so much prey out here, they'll probably just move off, I reckon, in the next couple of hours.
Well, how amazing, Dylan. I can't say I've ever seen a cheetah eating meat that's more than a few hours old. But anyway, you're back with us live in Djuma, everybody, and we've got an African green pigeon. Now, what's really interesting about the green pigeon is he's very colourful, very green. He's got yellow socks and red feet. He's there in the tree there, in between those nests. He's moving his head. And he's an exclusively fruit-eating bird. So he eats fruits, very, very, very big fan of figs. And these fruits are then distributed by the bird as they fly around and defecate, spreading the seeds of those trees. So like the elephant that eats fruits in the summer months, the African green pigeon will feed on fruits all year round, flying in large distances to find them. But at the same time, we talk about how the elephants use the grass in the summertime mainly. And there you can see littered around that tree like Christmas lights. We've got all of those bulbs of the nests of the weavers that have gone and taken all of the grass in the summer months and utilized it for making very nice nests. But most of the grass at the moment is quite dry. So Snack Attack, you can't even see the bird right now. Well, he's right there, sort of just left of the middle. Seems like we've got a car very excited to come and join us with our bird. Well, we are going to be staying here and seeing if we can spot any more birds, hopefully around this very nice little pan.
Welcome back to andBeyond, Phinda. We've moved away from those riverbeds in our quest to go and try and find that female cheetah with her youngsters. In the meantime, though, as we've come into the mountainous woodland, we've managed to find an African fish eagle. And we spotted it as it was flying low over the treetops. And not exactly the kind of place where one might expect to find an African fish eagle. I mean, of course, with the name suggesting, and as many of you will know, that they do tend to feed primarily on fish and therefore hang around water quite a bit. And I wonder if this one isn't maybe moving between water bodies. Now, on the other side of the ridge that's behind it, there's a large river. Oh, there it goes! Oh, wouldn't it be fantastic if it flies over us? Look at that magnificent white head contrasting to the black and red body. Kruger, there it goes. You're asking what influences the shape and color of a bird's eggs. Kruger, it will depend on where the bird nests. So a bird that nests on the ground will want to have its eggs as camouflaged as possible. So perhaps like a lightish, yellowy, browny color with little speckles to make it look like the ground. A bird that nests in a hollow tree, perhaps like a woodpecker, where there's not much light in there and the color of the egg doesn't really matter, because if something comes inside, it's not really going to be able to see the eggs too well. Then those eggs can be white, because they don't need to camouflage against anything. In terms of the shape, Kruger, again, it comes down to where the eggs are and what kind of nest shape they're in. For example, birds that nest on the water, things like African jacanas, that build their nests in actual ponds of water. They build their nests out of aquatic vegetation. And of course, if that egg moves the wrong way, it could roll into the water, and then the chick could then die, and the egg is then wasted. And so those eggs will be shaped in such a way that if they roll, they always roll with their central point in the middle. So they can't roll like a ball. They'll roll always in a circle, and that will keep them in one place. So, Kruger, it's where they nest and how they nest that influences the shape of their eggs. But fantastic to see that fish eagle. We're going to carry on and go see if we can find any signs of that female cheetah.
Well, luckily for us, we've found the signs of our leopardess again. She moved off briefly and went around, and now she's back in a spot of shade. The impala are still chilling out in front. Now they've stopped alarm calling, which is great for her, except she's taking a bit of a nap. It's a patience game, both for us and for her. Sometimes it can be hours until a hunt is completed. Sometimes it happens in a blink of an eye. But patience is key. Hi, Alex. You'd like to know if she could demolish a whole impala. That's just the type of language that Thandi likes. She's an unbelievable huntress. She would not be able to demolish an entire impala all on her own. She would need to sustain herself about 2 to 3 kgs of meat per day. Leopards don't actually tend to stuff themselves in the same way as hyenas and lions do, because they have the benefit of being able to hoist their kill and feed on it over several days. So usually over about 3 days, like a nice impala like this, you're looking at an average sized impala, say 50 kgs. She'll feed on it for about 3 days. Most per day, eating about 10 to 15 kgs. And of course, there's certain things that she can't eat. And that also carries weight in an impala, like the hooves and the bones and the horns. So if she gets one of these, it would be a good sustenance for her for quite a long period. So I really hope she gets something, because her little one is also in need of some sustenance.
her thing's gone. Oh, dog, what did she say? Just on an ad break on SABC, but we just managed to catch up with the Tswalu young male. He's just moved a little bit slightly into the bush there. Looks like he's been sleeping in this area for most of the morning, as we last saw him not too far from here this morning when he was being harassed by the hyenas. It does look like they eventually managed to elude them and he was sleeping in this donga here, where there's a nice shady spot for most of the day.
She is a little bit more alert now. She's picked her head up. She might have an eye on the exact impala that she's after. Very interesting stuff happening. You can hear some elephants in the background as well. I'll point them out to you if we see them and when we hear them. And if you have any questions about anything that's going on here, especially this lovely Thandi, use that hashtag WildEarth. Ask us anything you like. We'll try our best to answer it. Remember, this is happening live across 5 different locations in South Africa, bringing you the best safari experience from the comfort of your home. Donna, you'd like to know how big Thandi is compared to other leopards? Well, for me, Thandi is not very big. The other females that we have around is Kalamba, which is Thandi's daughter, and Shudulu, who's not related to Thandi. And both of those leopardesses, I think, are bigger than Thandi. Thandi, for me, looks like she's about 40 kgs. Maybe 45. She's a small leopardess. Now, if you look, a great comparison is if you see her and you see our dominant male leopard, Tingana. Tingana is a very big leopard. I would place him between 85 to 90 kgs. Now, in general, males are larger than female leopards, so you are going to get that disparity, but the difference between these two and their size is quite marked, and you can see that she is much smaller. She's watching them. Just hang on. Abel, I hear your vehicle. You just want to stop there. She's by me. I'd suggest coming around the other side. So it's best to make sure that her hunt goes on in the most undisturbed way. That's why we're going to try and herd the vehicles this way. While I do that, I'm going to send you over to Ngala.
As Trish was saying, it's not really good to disturb a leopard, so it's the best thing not to try and disturb them. Look at this guy. He does what leopard does best. He's walked again a short distance and he finds again another shady spot. Try and lie down a little bit of a distance away from us. From what happened to him this morning, it looks like he's trying to keep a low profile, moving as discreetly as he can into these nice shady spots where he camouflages quite well, so that maybe if these hyenas are still close by, those that were bothering him in the morning, so that maybe he gets a break from them. If you look at where he's sleeping, you can see how full his belly is looking. He looks like he's eaten most of what they had yesterday that the mother killed. Looking at the area where he's sleeping, I have not seen the sister, but I think she might be close by, in a close vicinity of where he is. And the mother, we saw the mother's tracks that have left this area. She's carried on with the day. As we saw this morning, she looks like she's went out busy marking a territory. It looks like she hasn't been in this portion of the territory in quite a while, so it's very, very important for her to be walking around and marking. Looking at the angle this leopard is lying on now, exposing the underneath of his belly, you can see how much more easy it is to spot him now with that white underbelly compared to his back that is nicely golden with the reflection of the sun. Makes it almost impossible with this long grass. So you can see, you can see how beautiful his paws are looking, as one of the viewers indicated. And you can see how much bigger his front paws are compared to his back. While we wait to see what he's going to do, we're going to send you over to Steve with the elephants busy drinking.
Thanks, Barney. Enjoy your leopard. We've come down over to Chitra, one of the nicest dams in the area, watering holes in the area. And we found a herd of elephants that has come down to drink. It's quite incredible, actually. Elephants drinking. You might see some buildings in the background. That is the wonderfully placed Chitwa Lodge, perched on the banks of this wonderful watering hole. And this is a very, very busy area when it comes to wildlife. You never quite know what you're going to find when you come down. Ellies are very relaxed. They basically drink whenever they need to, twice a day most days. And then they'll slowly move off feeding. But right now, they're just waiting for everybody to finish. There's no rush. All they're going to do after this is slowly walk away and feed. Maybe find some dust and throw it on their head. Sophie, what a good question. Now, Sophie, I would like you to go and take a straw one day and stick it in your nose and suck it up with your nostrils and tell me what it feels like. Please don't do that, but essentially an elephant's trunk is their nose. So by sucking water up, what they're doing is, if you've ever taken a straw and stuck it into a milkshake and then stuck your finger over the side of the straw, the top, and then pulled it out and then emptied that into your mouth, that is what an elephant is doing with their trunk. They suck up the water into the trunk, 10 liters or so, and then they lift their head back and they spray it into their mouth. Now, I think it takes a bit of practice to be able to pull the water up at the perfect sort of distance. It doesn't affect the nasal cavities. I'm just going to allow you to listen to them walk past. How incredible is this? We are truly, truly blessed. Hello, Mama. Just checking us out, everybody. There's no aggression here. Very relaxed. Sorry about the fact that the elephants are framed up with the car, everybody, but that is how close they are. Now, they are right, yeah. Now they've chosen to do this, everybody. We gave them plenty of space, and they walked past us. You saw the first one, the female, walked right up here. And she pretty much put her trunk on the trunk, or should I say on the bonnet of the car. And she told everybody, these guys are okay. Don't worry too much about them. And then always there's one lone bull following at the back, the little teenagers. They don't like to be too close to the females, you know. They're too cool to be hanging out with the mum and little daughters and brothers, you know what I mean? Little sisters and brothers. And if you're unsure about how I tell that he's a boy, we can definitely deal with that. He's now going to show us how big he is. How big and strong you are, my friend. And not scared at all, is he? How blessed are we? Scenes like this in the Greater Kruger National Park are really profound, and one of the most favorite things that I ever experience is a herd of elephants moving around your car like that, giving you as much respect as you give them, and spending those quiet moments with them. It's truly, truly magical. Cool. Welcome back, everybody, to all our wonderful internet viewers. How are we doing this afternoon? We just had a close encounter with this wonderful herd of elephants, and I am truly, truly blessed to have been able to bring you those scenes. Magical. And that is them just saying to you, I know you, I respect you, you respect us. Thanks very much. And there's the waterfall. There's always lots of water going in and then lots of water going out. We came down to watch the elephants drinking. And what we were pleasantly surprised with as well, and it's the first time, hey Craigie, I haven't seen this many hippos outside of the water. There's a group here, another group at the back, all over. There's probably 15, 20 hippos out the water, all just chilling. Taking it easy, enjoying life, loving life. Must be pretty cold in the water today.
Hello and welcome back to andBeyond Phinda, everyone. Now, before we get into this, I'm just going to give you all a bit of a warning. What you're about to see is quite graphic, so if you are sensitive, now would be a good time to look away. Myself and Marcel have been looking for this mother cheetah and her two cubs, and we've managed to find this impala carcass. Have a look down here. It's almost like deja vu from last week. Have a look at this, the remains of what was a young female impala, and see how everything is still kind of very much intact. None of the bones have been broken or dismembered too badly. The carcass hasn't been pulled apart wildly, and everything has been fed on very neatly. Look at how the meat has been neatly cut away from the face of this impala. Look at how the stomach, the rumen, the intestines are all still here. And look at how the meat again has been cut neatly away from the neck, and only the thinnest parts of the ribs over here have been chewed. And these are all kind of signs that indicate that this was a cheetah that did this. With bigger predators like lions, hyenas, they tend to rip things up a bit more and scatter the carcass all over the place. So a very promising sign for us. And of course, before I got out the vehicle, I had a good look around with my binoculars to make sure that there was no predators nearby that I might disturb. But this looks like this was killed a little bit earlier today. And looking at the amount of meat that would have been fed, this mother cheetah and her 2 cubs will probably be really, really full. So I don't think they will have gone too far from here. Megan, you're saying apparently it doesn't look like there's much left. Megan, there certainly isn't. They've done a pretty good job of cleaning just about every scrap of meat off of this carcass. And I really hope that we can find them, because if we do, I think they're going to look as fat as little ticks. But amazing to have just seen what these cheetah have done to this carcass. We're going to head off in that direction, go look for some tracks, and hopefully we'll be able to find these cheetah.
So, looking at the fact that at Phinda, DAMEN is busy looking for cheetah, there's few differences between the 2 cats, the cheetah and the leopard. The one thing that is too obvious is their rosette spots, but at the same time, it's how their body shapes are built. Like a cheetah stands very tall and it's a very thin animal, and anything with the cheetah is designed for speed with a nice small jaw. Whereas a leopard is much more stockier built. As you can see how nice and thick the neck of this leopard is, much more bigger head. So in a way, if you find the evidence of the carcass between the 2 cats, you'll be able to tell exactly which one between the 2 have fed on the carcass, not only of the obvious things that leopards sometimes take their carcasses up a tree, but the leopard has got a much more stronger jaw that will be able to chew in a lot of tiny little bones on an impala. The ribs will easily be chewed on. If it's a young impala, like we watched this male did last week, feeding on the actual head of an impala itself, breaking bones from the femur all the way up, whereas with a cheetah, most of the bigger bones will be left behind. So a cheetah will start on the rump, and then that's where most of the meat is. And as the cheetah feeds through, will come onto the stomach, open it up, and most of the ribs that are big, unless it's a young animal, they might be able to chew on the end of the ribs, so it's a little bit more cartilage. But other than that, most of the bigger bone and the carcass that has been fed by a cheetah will be left behind. Because as you can see how nice and big this leopard is lying in a drainage line, he's a young male of only about 15 months, but already you can see how much more built he is. And for sure, this is going to be a big, big leopard when it's fully grown. So while we watch this guy lie here, understanding how powerful he might be, comparing him to a cheetah, we talked a little bit about carnivores at the moment. We're going to send you to somebody. We're going to start talking about the herbivores as we speak.
We just came over this dune crest and we got this beautiful mixed herd of different species. So we got, just in this one group here, we got Burchell zebra, we've got red hartebeest and oryx, or many of you may know them as gemsbok. And these aggregations are very, very typical in these areas in the face of large predators, notably lions. The threat of lion predation in these areas often causes animals to lump together like this, and it's a very good mechanism in terms of predator avoidance. Yeah, there's just more eyes, ears, watching, listening for danger. It's not to say that they get away from it, all the time. We are slap bang in the middle of what we call the Southern Pride's territory, and they frequently hunt through this valley below, exactly where Genre is there, down in those thickets at the bottom of they quite regularly make kills down in that area. And there's really good grazing up here as well for these animals. See, there's a really good grass sward, good grass cover. Mordecai says it's absolutely beautiful scenery, and I just wish you were all here on the ground with us. And look, as Genre zooms out there, just to give you some indication, some small tantalizing taste of this landscape, it is just out of this world. I mean, look at those mountains, And these mountains are incredibly ancient. Those hills that you're looking at there, we call them mountains, they're actually hills. Our highest point is about 1,586 meters above sea level, with an average height of about 1,200 meters. But those hills are incredibly ancient. They're about 1.6 billion year old quartzites. So very, very, very old landscape this.
I am in the middle of the bush. Quite literally, I'm off the road. Thandi decided to move under my vehicle before she eyed me out. Well, after she eyed me out. Right here, at my feet. She gave me the look and she went underneath my vehicle and down into this drainage. And you can see there's a giraffe there. The impala are still around. She is somewhere here. We have just got to find her. A giraffe is a good indicator too because they have this really high vantage point, which makes sense with their tall height, neck. And if that giraffe saw her, he would be staring at her. But he isn't. So she's very, very well hidden in the grass here. Impalas are running. Problem with the impalas running is that they are very skittish. Patricia, you say, wow, wow indeed. It was, I wish you could have seen it. My feet have never been that close to a leopard in its life. But I feel like we had an understanding, Thandi and I, or at least I like to believe that. She was very nice. She just gave me a look. No snarl or anything like that. Very nice. She was just trying to use the vehicle to her advantage. Ooh, all right. Well, hopefully we'll find her again. But Steve has a gorgeous view to show you. So let's go over and see.
Thanks, Trish. Well, what a special sighting and what a special afternoon. Thandi, elephants, cheetahs, and now we've found a family of hippos that's decided to enjoy a little bit more of a beach suntan. It's not rare to see hippos out the water, but you don't often, I haven't since I've been here, seen as many hippos as we can see right now out of the water here at Chitwa, just outside of the watering hole. Very healthy population of hippo over here, and they have to range far and wide for food, but there's no ranging far and wide right now. Right now they are having a very lazy day, which is what hippos do. There is a beautiful mum and her baby taking it easy right at the water's edge. Obviously young hippos are prone to predation from lion, but they are keeping themselves nice and warm in the sun. Everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this week or today's show. It has been wonderful having you live with us from all these wonderful locations. We look forward to seeing you once again tomorrow, same time and same place. Have a wonderful afternoon further. Thanks for the questions and comments. Until then, good day and goodbye.
And a special warm welcome back to all of our internet viewers on the various platforms. Good to have you with us. Once again, my name is Damon, and behind the camera we've got Marcel. And we just missed the SABC show, but we've managed to catch up with this mother cheetah and her two youngsters. And as predicted, look at how fat those tummies are. They've just, between the three of them, finished off a whole young female impala. and they look absolutely fit to burst. Now, once again, of course, this is live, and so we'd love to hear from you. You can get in touch with us by using the hashtag WildEarth. If you're under the age of 18, send us your questions to kidsquestions@wildearth.tv, or you can use @FC on YouTube or Twitch. Oh my word, look at the tummy of that little male on the left. The little male cub, look at how fat that tummy is. He looks like he's going to explode. He looks like, for those of you that live in the States, maybe after a Thanksgiving dinner, or for those of us that live in South Africa, after a good braai, when you feel absolutely fit to burst after you've gone way past what you know your limit is, and then you just kind of regret every decision that you made in the last few hours. That's how he looks.
Like the Michelin Man.
Marcel is saying he looks like the Michelin Man. Look at this wonderful shady spot that they found. We didn't have to drive very far, everyone. Remember I said that we had checked very carefully around that carcass and we didn't see any sign of them. But we headed in this direction and we just saw the mother's head lift up out of the grass, and that very prominent silhouette of that cheetah-shaped head. A dead giveaway. Look at how she's busy cleaning her paws. Using that rough tongue of hers. She might have bits of dried blood in there, bits of dirt. The area where she caught that impala also was quite rocky, so I wonder if maybe, we haven't seen her stand up yet, but maybe she's got a little nick or a little scratch from the rough terrain that she was hunting in. Oh, but they all look so content. It's a relief for us to have seen her or have found her again as well, because it's been a couple of days now that we haven't been able to find this mother cheetah and her youngsters. And they gave us a bit of a runaround the other day. We spent many hours trying to track them through all kinds of terrain. But while we spend a bit of time with this mother cheetah and her youngsters, so good to see them once again. Let's go and have a look at a very different habitat. Let's go see what's going on at Tswalu.
Okay, so one of the key things that we're seeing here, and I mentioned it very, very briefly earlier, is the fact that you get these aggregations of animals in the face of the predation threat from things like lions. Even in certain areas, big clans of spotted hyenas will do the same thing. Wild dog can fulfill that same role as well. But lions are absolutely key in driving these kind of game aggregations. And I'm talking also, I'm not talking about in terms of mass migrations based on rainfall. I'm talking about where animals are occurring at that point. You can get a tendency to split up and move apart in the absence of large predators, and congregating in the presence of large predators. But that is crucially important. These apex predators are so important for maintaining the health of any system on Earth. And there's some really good science behind it, some strong literature that's been put out there by top A-grade scientists across the globe on so many different ecosystems, on the benefits of having apex predators in an area. And really, when you're seeing this kind of grass cover and that, it just shouts that these lions are doing what they're meant to be doing, and that's really shifting game. That animals don't just wake up in the morning and eat whatever they feel like eating just because it's nice. Because remember, not all grass is created equal. Not all bushes taste the same, and the problem is, in the absence of these large predators in some areas, game can concentrate on the things that they really enjoy eating, and they will absolutely bit here, nibble there, nibble a little bit there, stick with my friends. And that is so important for ensuring ecosystem health. And there's some great examples that have been done on like what they call island biogeography, which is essentially any reserve. And the classic work has been done on Lakshmi has asked, so is this the ideal type of vegetation for an oryx? I love that question. So I'm just going to stand up. The camera might move a little bit there. Don't beat me, Jean-Dre. We've only got a few days left together. No. So in terms of that question there, is this ideal vegetation for oryx? Oryx are traditionally portrayed on these massive landscapes with these rolling sand dunes and nothing as far as the eye can see, and or from the air, people flying over the Namib Desert, and you see there's a herd of oryx and they get these photographs. But they are able to persist in a really wide range of habitats. They are arid area and semi-arid area specialists. They've got some wonderful adaptations that allows them to persist in these environments. What we're seeing here would be let's say the luxurious end of the spectrum in terms of their habitat use, but they have got incredible ability to persist in the most harsh landscapes in southern Africa. But this entire landscape is just great, and it's just so good seeing the amalgamation of game here. There's actually blue wildebeest out to the left, red hartebeest, Birchall zebra, oryx. It's just a good scene.
See, this man hasn't done much since the last time. He had his head up for a bit, but right now it's only his ear twitching, because there's a fly that's bothering him that looks like it was about to kill. So remembering now the distance they covered this morning with the mother and the sister, he puts his head up, but you can see he looks slightly tired. So he is now busy being bothered by flies, which might be the only thing that might make him get up and try and find a better shady spot to try and lose that fly. Look at how he's shaking his skin to try and shake that fly, and it looks like it's coming onto his face and his ears. We need to thank that fly, because for the first time in a long time he actually has his head up and has been lying flat the whole time. So he is full-bellied, as we indicated earlier on, and it looks like he's still tired from the distance they covered this morning. So if it's not for these flies that are bothering him right now, chances are that he's going to spend most of the afternoon lying on exactly the same spot, unless, of course, those hyenas that were bothering and torturing them this morning comes back. And we don't really think that these hyenas are too far from here. When we last left them this morning, they were on and about and moving around. But look at him giving us a yawn. Remember, we talked about cats yawning, slightly different to what yawning means to us. So if he gives us a few more yawns, I think he's going to stand up shortly. Here we go. And I think we've got that fly that's bothering him to thank. But even though with the flies bothering him, Tony, it's really a cool cat, and looks exactly like a domestic cat, what a domestic cat can do, lying flat and chasing flies off his face. So we think we're going to let him sleep here for most of the afternoon and see if we can find something active. And while we do that, we're going to send you to Tswalu to go look at the bird.
These are super cool birds. These are southern ant-eating chats. Southern ant-eating chats. We've shown you the nest before in a big porcupine burrow. Remember that immense, like quadruple story porcupine burrow that we walked down inside, all those little nesting holes? That's these birds ant-eating chats. The other reason why they probably one of Jean-Dre's favorite birds, and I really enjoy them, is they are excellent indicators of when aardvark are active. So these birds will often follow aardvark around, and even pangolin sometimes. We actually watched a flock of birds following wildebeest the other day. So essentially, it's not about the ant-eating chat and the aardvark. It could be any kind of disturbance. Sorry, what was that, John Trey? any kind of disturbance of the soil or the grass cover that could churn up little insects, these birds will get onto it. So it's just interesting to note. But now, as we're going into this time of day, it's starting to get slightly cooler. There's a little bit of a breeze. We'll keep our eyes open for these, what we call bird parties. And hopefully they will lead us to some other creatures. But how gorgeous is this place, eh? So one day when I'm big, I will work out. No, it's a very special environment, this, on so many different levels. And just so much that we don't know about. For all the amazing research that we got going on now, there's just so much that we've still got to learn about it. And it's also the challenge, trying to understand these things and try to piece it all together. But we're going to carry on ambling along, and on that happy thought, let's go find something.
Shh, everyone, don't make any noise. We found a giraffe, and I'm worried that if we make a single move or a noise, it will run away. This is our friend giraffe. It's the very dark male. He's super camouflaged. He's acting very coy this afternoon, but he's a beautiful boy. Welcome everybody to us here at Prrivelands. I forgot where we were for a moment there. At the Eco Training Prrivelands Conservancy. I'm Michael Anderson. Behind the camera is Gert. And we've had a lovely afternoon. It's nice and warm, sunny. We've got a lot of blue sky action. But apparently that giraffe doesn't want to hang around with us because he's moving further into the drainage line once again. But yes, lovely to have you here. Glad you joined us. We've been hunting all over the reserve looking for the elephants that were at the waterhole earlier, but they seem to have moved very, very far away. We can't find them. It's amazing. You think you couldn't lose a herd of elephants, but apparently you can. Especially when they're on the move to find decent food. They've eaten most of what they wanted to eat here. We're right outside of our eco-training camp, so they don't stick around too much anymore. There's a water here. They just spend the whole day playing in the water and feeding, and over the course of months they managed to eat most of what they liked. And they've left just a little bit for this giraffe. Oh, I'm going to be sending you over to Damon with it.
We're still sitting with our mother cheetah and her two youngsters, and they are still very much enjoying their full tummies and enjoying this cooling breeze that's blowing in from the west. Busy scanning as well as they rest, just occasionally opening their eyes and looking around them to make sure that there's nothing that they should be taking notice of. And like I said, they've given us a bit of a runaround in the last couple of days. We had tracks of them disappearing into some very hilly areas where we couldn't follow the tracks, couldn't keep up with them. And so I would like to show you on a map just kind of what her movements have been like over the last few weeks since we've been following her. And it's quite interesting and quite typical of female cheetah in this area, especially when they've got youngsters. So this is where we are now. Down in this part of andBeyond Phinda. Right over here is where we are at the moment. And just to quickly orientate you, all of the grey patches on the map, those are all areas of open grassland. So for the last few weeks, this mother cheetah has been out here in the clearings, kind of in this area down here. And when we lost her for so long, she had disappeared up into these kind of these hilly woodlands, which is what the green represents. But she's come back out here, and this is where she is currently now. And that's quite typical of a female cheetah with youngsters, is that she'll move to one open area, hunt, hopefully kill something, and then move to an open area to rest, and she'll spend as much time in that area as she can, kind of depleting the prey species there and giving the impalas and the inyalas just a hard time, I suppose. And eventually the prey might move out of that area, and then it will be time for her to move to the next area, and then she'll go across to here or across to here. And that's pretty typical behavior for cheetah in the southern part of andBeyond Phinda, especially when they've got youngsters. So hopefully that means that over the next few days, she's not going to move too far from this clearing. And certainly with those fat tummies, she doesn't look like she's really capable of moving too far or too fast, for that matter. Alright, apparently Thandi the leopard is doing the exact opposite of what this cheetah and her cubs are doing. So let's go and see what she's up to with Trish.
Except I am almost... Nope, I'm not stuck, everyone. And we've managed to relocate Thandi. She's been running circles. Obviously, there she is. Let's try and get a better view. She's just through here. Okay, she's right in front of my bonnet. Can you see it there, Theo? We're just gonna look like this for now. She's stalking. Guys, I really wish I could have showed you that moment. Oh, and she's on the move. I think we should maybe go up. A little further up. Because she seems to have actually given up on this hunt for now. In this long grass, it is so difficult to see her. Unbelievably so. And with this color, it's very special. Nope, that stick doesn't like me. Let's try next to it. Sophie, you say classic Thandi indeed, and some classic TRISHALA driving. I'm not sure if I heard that correctly. Dylan has a baby penguin? Okay, off you go.
Oh no, sorry guys. We had the most the most awesome sighting of a pygmy. Well, when I say awesome, it was sitting in a tree. Okay, it was eating something tiny. We couldn't see what it was, but its crop was already full, and as we came to, the thing just like gapped it straight across here, tried to catch something, and then flew around the car and gone. Anyway, it was a pygmy falcon. You can look it up. It's a little grey bird of prey, tiny little raptor. Someone out there has an effigy of my game drive vehicle today. I can tell you now, and they are pushing pins into it properly. I will find you. So at least you saw it very briefly, but nonetheless, yeah, so I'm just going to carry on going through and try actually find something that sits still for me. But it's good having you with, and keep asking us questions. Melanie's still with us, for those of you who are interested. Oops, I need to go forward, eh? It is such a beautiful afternoon out here, you cannot believe it.
Good afternoon, everybody. We are on Tswalu Private Game Reserve. We're next to the dam where there is a nest and birds on top of it. Down to the dam, there is also some hippos. Okay, my name is Raymond. Also, I've got Greg as a cameraman. So, we are right over here with the hippos. So the lovely hippos were outside immediately when we arrive over here. So they get inside the water while we are here. So it's lots of hippos over here. So it's different spot as the hippo. They do make their territory inside the water. So each and every pod have got its own alpha. So as you're looking on that tree, there is a lot called wood nest. Wood. So those nests, it's called the buffalo nest. And the birds on top of there are the oxpecker. They play important role through to all animals that can manage to attack by the ticks. As you can see there, they're just waiting for those hippos to come out in order to get something, which is ticks. They are eating ticks. If you can listen very carefully. Okay. I will stay a little bit right over here for a while. Maybe some other birds can come.
Thandi is sneaking around today. So she looked like she wasn't going to hunt, and she moved west towards quarantine, and then she said, I'm going to fool you, Impala, and she came right back, very low, stalking in this grass. It's just perfectly colored for her. Off she goes. Very, very busy. The impala are none the wiser at the moment. And she's gone from our view. Let's see if we can just tuck in here and get a view. But she's going to actually be moving quite steadily down there, so we might just get her walking through. But let's have a go anyway. Standing by.
Approaching the impala, she's not far from the impala. That's why I'm stopping here. So let's wait for her and see what is happening.
Copy. So, Mike, who's in front of us, has just told me they've just let us know that there's some impala further ahead, and Thandi is quite close to them. So this is a good spot to wait at in order to watch what's going to unfold. I think if we watch quietly, this would be awesome. Hi, Krishna. You would like to know how fast a leopard can run. Leopards are not terribly fast. For example, an impala is about 80 kilometers per hour, give or take. And a leopard runs at about 50 to 60. 67 has been recorded. Even into the 70s has been recorded. Kilometers per hour, that is. But they're averaging around 60 kilometers per hour. But the leopard is not relying on chasing down prey. It's not relying on running and getting prey. It's relying on stalking prey and ambushing them. So she's going to get as close as possible. She's going to wait for the right moment. I mean, what, we've been sitting here with her for an hour and a half, and she's been running circles around these guys. So for her, it's patience, it's stealth. She gets into about 10 meters of her prey, and then she pounces. So she's counting on surprise, not her speed. We can see the impala streaming in. And let's just watch, guys, because I've lost visual of her, and she, for me, would be right in the middle of where these impala are. Was an elephant shouting in the background. Bobby, you say you can just feel like Thandi, you just feel Thandi on the stalk? Absolutely, I feel like we're about to hear a screech and an eruption of hooves hitting the ground. I can feel that tenseness. Ooh, I've got shivers. Slight breeze. It's not going to work well for her. Luckily, the breeze is carrying the scent away from the impala. Clever girl. Still can't see her, waiting for that eruption. Tingling. David, you say you can cut the tension with a knife? Absolutely. I'm a little bit thirsty. I don't even want to open up my water bottle. See, every time an impala makes a move, it could be the opportunity that she needs to get the impala. Oh gosh, it's too much everyone. Okay, let's cut the tension and send you over to Damon with a lovely rhino. And I'll let you know if anything happens here.
That certainly does sound like a very, very tense scene, everybody. So here's something to ease the tension a little bit. Myself and Marcel spotted this white rhino from where we were sitting with that mother cheetah, and we saw it heading down towards this waterhole, and we thought we have to come down here and have a look. And this big white rhino bull has rewarded us by coming down to drink briefly. And it now looks like he's ready to get on his way, continue with his territorial patrols for the evening. Look at that oxpecker on his nose. There's two of them there. It looked like the one was going inside his nostril. Sure, talk about being invasive. No offense to any dentists watching right now, but that looks like like having a dentist's hand stuck into your mouth. Having a bird go up your nostril. That can't be too comfortable. But of course, this big rhino will be used to it. And quite grateful for it, I imagine. Those oxpeckers, of course, helping to rid him of any ticks. Look at how he's walking towards us with those ears cocked towards us. Oh, he is absolutely massive, everybody. Look at the size of him. A little oxpecker riding on his horn. right between his eyes. I don't even think he can see the oxpecker. And look at how many are on his back as well, everyone. Maybe that he's had a particularly large amount of ticks on his body and the oxpeckers have been feeding. And they're now just taking, or hitching a free ride, really. Look at how this rhino, as he walks, look at how he keeps his nose close to the ground. And he'll be sniffing carefully as he walks, using that fantastic sense of smell of his. Lara Moore, you've made a very good observation. You say that rhinos, despite being so big and bulky, they look almost quite elegant when they walk. And I mean, have a look, everyone. Look at this. He's a massive animal, but when he walks, he almost walks with a bit of a spring in his step. Oh, he's going to set mark. Look, he's set marking. Look how he's spraying his urine. My goodness, look at how far it's spraying back. Imagine the pressure that that urine must be coming out at. And that's one of his ways of marking his territory, telling other rhino bulls that he's in charge here. He's the dominant bull here. This is his territory, his waterhole. And still smelling the ground very carefully. And coming to investigate us. How fantastic is this, everybody? I'm going to have to talk a little bit more quietly now that he's so close. This is insane. And all the oxpeckers still on his back. Oh, I hope you're all getting some fantastic screenshots. Listen to the oxpeckers hissing. And curiosity satisfied that we're not any threat to him. He's heading off up the hill and into the thick bush. Now, that was just so fantastic to get to see him scent marking like that. And just watching him spray his urine like that reminds me of when I was a kid at school. We went on a school field trip the one day to a zoo, up in Johannesburg. And I remember they had a black rhino on exhibit there. And it was obviously fenced in. And it had a favorite stump that it would always go and scent mark against. And the stump was right against the fence, which was chain linked, like the same thing that they make tennis court fences out of here in South Africa. And there were a bunch of young children that arrived also on a school bus, and they saw this rhino, and the teachers couldn't stop them. They all went running, shouting, "Rhino, rhino, rhino, rhino." And they went running up to the fence, and as they got to the fence, they all hit the fence with their hands out like this, so excited. And as they did that, this rhino just turned around, and projectile like scent marks sprayed all over his stump, and these kids got absolutely plastered in urine. And they all, like, as hard as they hit the fence, they like bounced off and recoiled and went running back to their teachers screaming. It looks like this rhino's come out behind us again, everybody. We're gonna just wait for him to move a little bit further back, and then we'll turn around and try and reposition, maybe for another view of him. It's just so special in this afternoon light. And how fantastic was it to have him walk all the way up to the vehicle to come and see what we're doing. Okay, let's try and turn around. While we're busy with this maneuver, everybody, let's go across to Mike, who's apparently also got a large animal.
We have got a large creature, one that is doing something strange. It's feeding at the very, very bottoms of this grass. Maybe not so strange, maybe that's where the good stuff is, but it just looks like an awkward position. It was sort of curling its neck up. These are African buffalo, and it's those 7 old gentlemen that we've been seeing here at Pridelands for a while. The Gentlemen's Club. Don't move too far. Love to stay here at the shady drainage line. Same drainage line we had the giraffe earlier. And as you can see, very strong old buffalo. This one is actually missing most of the fur on its face, but it's pretty well furred on the rest of its body. As they get older, they do tend to lose a lot of their fur, and that's where the name Dagga Boy comes from. It's a South African common name for these old buffalo bulls. The Dagga boys are covered in mud often because of the fact they don't have fur, and Dagga means mud. These old boys are still doing pretty good for themselves. They've got lots. They've found this little patch of green vegetation, and that's why it's sticking its head deep down in that grass, getting some of the delicious, nutritious grasses that are still left. Of course, the horns sometimes getting in the way of all these bushes. That's what makes those horns so shiny and smooth, because they often have to push through all these branches and bushes, and then they rub them on things, and over time, as they get older, they get shinier and shinier. Our buffalo is also playing hide and seek, just like our giraffe was. All the animals seem to be hiding away this afternoon. We've got a lot of other buffaloes around, though. Let's see, maybe the other ones will come out and play with us as well. It's nice just to be close to these large animals. You'll see over there as a herd pans across, there's another old buffalo. This one is an extremely strong-looking buffalo. They've got a huge, thick neck, and now you can see that boss, how heavy and solid it is. I did once try and pick up a buffalo skull that had obviously been killed by lions some time before, and the skull was now clean, some years old. I tried to pick that up. It was extremely heavy. No wonder these buffaloes have such thick, strong necks. When they have to fight with each other, they bash their heads together. It's unbelievable. Laura loves buffaloes. Well, Laura, they are the most underrated of the big five, I think. Many people come on safari and they're like, oh, these look like big cows or whatever, and they do look kind of docile most of the time. But I tell you what, these are some of the most dangerous animals in Africa. Many guides, Laura, will tell you when they're on foot, this is the one animal that makes them nervous, because they don't show us what they want to do. They kind of just act on their impulses, which is scary at times. Well, while we watch these buffaloes feeding, let's send you over to a beautiful fish eagle, my favorite bird.
Welcome back. I did believe that you did enjoy the rhinos over that side. We are still right over here on our back. Right in front of us, we have got a massive, nice bird, which is wearing a white shirt and a black jacket. It's called a fish eagle. It's relaxing. It's a part of hunting like that. They can manage to drop one time immediately to catch fish. And you can hear the nice voices of audio with different birds. The fish eagle tells us there is a water very close where we are. We are still in Cheetah Dam, together with the Cheetah Lodge. Yes, of zeros, it's a very, very nice, lovely area right over here. The breeze and the audio, as well as some sighting that you can see. I also love this bird. It's so pretty to me as well. Yes, Lona, that is not easy. But anyhow, let's hope it will give us a call.
Can you do the call, Raymond?
Yes, but I'm not very, very good. I will try that. Oh, sorry, Lona. The hippos, they're taking over. Yeah, the hippos taking over. Okay.
Things are still pretty staker-outery here. Haven't heard a peep, haven't seen a leopard slinking through the grass. Actually can't see her at all, but I can see the impala. This herd hasn't moved much, so she, even though we don't have eyes on her, she will be around here. And that squeal of life being taken away from you is unmistakable. So even if it's not happening right here, but when she gets a kill nearby, we will hear it. That's why it's nice to just, we have a view of the impala, just be still. Have the opportunity to listen. And if we're lucky, we'll get to see the huntress in action. This is becoming quite a busy sighting, so I may have to pull out in a little while if another vehicle wants to join. But for now,
okay, we have moved north on Twin Dams Road, and we are now where Elephant Carcass crosses Twin Dams Road. Should we go even more north?
Come all the way along Twin Dams Road, all the way north until you can see Riatella Dam. That's the dam by the lodge. And there's a junction of Twin Dams and Wahlberg's Eagle's Nest. And you're going to come up there. When you're there, you can call in again. I'll be able to see or hear you.
Thank you, please copy that.
I feel like the impala have a false sense of security now. But I don't know. You know, these things can go either way. How many failed hunts do we see? Let's just wait, I guess. So I'm gonna keep on doing that.
WildEarth relies on support from viewers like you to carry on broadcasting our daily live shows. A small donation goes a long way in helping us on our mission to connect the world with nature. Please visit our support page to see how you can help and become part of the WildEarth family.
So we're still with those buffalo bulls, and we just saw all the flies illuminated by the backlight, and I thought it's good to show you why they cover themselves in all the mud. You can see all these flies flying around, and a lot of these flies are actually blood-sucking, and so they'll land and cut small little holes in the skin of the buffalo and then suck out some of that plasma fluids, and that's very uncomfortable with the buffaloes. They've got tough skin, but they don't like that very much, and so they cover themselves in mud. So you can see the little flakes of mud all over. Oh, hello. It's checking us right out. Yes, we are talking about you. You are a very handsome buffalo, very beautiful buffalo. Please don't be angry at us. I don't think it's going to work. He looks angry anyway. And yeah, so actually I was talking to Gert just now about Dagga boys, right? And he said Dagga is actually colloquial, or like a common name used for cement. Because of course when the buffaloes get all this stuff on their skin, it looks just like that mixed cement. Look how strong it looks. See, every now and again it puts its head up, it's sniffing. See those ears flapped forward, listening to what might be around. We heard an impala just a moment ago doing a territorial call. Perhaps this buffalo wants to go and investigate. Oh, look at all the flies. It's a crazy amount of flies. Often if there's a big herd of buffalo around, if you want to view them, you'll be assaulted by these flies as well. And they do bite quite painfully. It's very uncomfortable. But this buffalo seems to be dealing with it quite well. I can't even see those usual muscle twitches that they get often. You often see it with zebras, as the biting insects are disturbing them. Man, I can't get over. Oh, look at all those flies. That's crazy. I would not be dealing with it very well. I'd also be covering myself in mud. But look how strong this buffalo is. So we know buffaloes normally live somewhere around 15 years old. Depends which books you read, and also depends on what area. But let's say around 15 years old would be quite an old buffalo. So these buffaloes are probably nearing, 13, 14 years old, very much in the later stages of their life, but still in very, very good condition. I mean, look at that. If you were on a bushwalk, we talked about it earlier, how they're considered one of the most dangerous. You're on a bushwalk and the sun's in front of you, and you just accidentally bumped into this old buffalo. Remember, being so old, sometimes they don't hear very well, sometimes their eyesight's not great, so they might end up being surprised by you, and that's what you don't want to find, is a surprised buffalo. So as I mentioned before, they have a tendency to act impulsively. So they're either going to run towards you or run away from you. I don't know which one I prefer. Right, so we're going to send you over to Phinda with a rhino.
We've managed to catch up with this big white rhino bull, everyone. And look at how he's busy feeding his way up the hillside. Using that big square mouth of his to crop up the grass. Let's just listen to him for a second, see if we can hear him crunching. It is quite windy, so I know that the sound might be quite tough to hear, but still very special to listen to that sound. Those big molar teeth grinding up the grass. Every now and then we might get a bit of a lip smack from him as well. Those big rubbery lips that he'll use to pluck up the grass from the ground. And he's moved pretty far since you last saw us, everybody, with his head down, purposefully grazing up the hill and into the wind, just so that he can smell if anything is up ahead of him, relying on that very good sense of smell of his, those huge nostrils. And now look at how he's going into that, see there's that cluster of sticks there, and look at how much longer and lusher the grass is there. So maybe just with all those dead sticks there, maybe just trapping a bit more moisture in the mornings, keeping the grass greener a bit longer. So looking for the best grazing to maintain his massive bulk. Kirsten, you're asking what the main predator of a rhino would be. Kirsten, excluding humans of course, the only large predators that normally will try and take on a rhino would be a pride of lions or maybe a clan of hyenas. And it's not a regular occurrence. Look at how big this rhino is. Just being so big and so strong, it would require a lot of energy for either lions or hyenas to try and tackle. Listen to him pushing through the sticks. Yeah, so because of the amount of energy that it would require, it's too big of a risk for them, and also the chance of injury is very high, so they wouldn't normally try and hunt a rhino. Normally when rhinos do get caught by predators, it's either when they are very sick or emaciated, maybe starving due to a lack of good grazing or browsing in the case of a black rhino. Or we were discussing the other day as well about how when a young rhino gets to the age where it's going to be pushed away by its mother, when she's about to have or getting close to having her new calf, that youngster, when it gets pushed away, is often vulnerable to attack by clans of hyenas, prides of lions. And that's why one of the many reasons why they'll often go and associate with another rhino and her calf. And so often we've seen it a couple of times now over the last few weeks where there's a mother rhino that has what look like two calves, but if you look closely, one is often a little bit bigger than the other. And it's not that she's got twins, it's that she's been joined by what is often referred to as a satellite calf. So a calf that doesn't belong to her, that's just out there seeking some company, a bit of safety in numbers. With these white rhinos being often quite gregarious, they often like to be with other rhinos. Of course, the exception being a big bull like this. This is, like we said, a fully grown male, and this is more than likely his territory. and so he will live alone most of the time, only really associating with other rhinos when it's just by chance over resources like water or a good mud wallow. I know you were with all those buffaloes covered in mud. Rhinos like this one are also quite fond of rolling around in mud. So water, mud, and then of course food will be things that might bring this rhino into contact with other rhinos. And of course if he's looking for a mate as well. Alright, we're going to stick with this rhino for a bit. I'm hoping that he's going to keep on walking up the hill into some more open areas, and I think with the sun setting there's going to be some spectacular scenery if we can keep up with him. In the meantime though, let's go across to Djuma to see what they've got for you.
Thank you, welcome. We are still right over here together on a Cheetah Dam, as well as sort of like a Cheetah Private Game Lodge. So we're still on a nest together with the owner of the nest. It's called the buffalo weaver. So those buffalo weaver, you can see the whole tree, it's a lot of nests. They're making lots of nests as a part of protection for themselves. They try by all means to refresh the spelling through to all those different nests to make sure that if a snake comes, one to smell to the other one, they find nothing and forgives it nothing all over, and they give up while they are on one of them. They're using one all of them to sleep on it. Then during the day they go for food and come back like as it is. Now it's almost afternoon. They're trying to refresh all those nests. Each and every one you can see, if you clearly look clearly, they're going different nests. They won't sleep on all different nests. They're going to sleep on one nest. But the smelling, they also refresh, that in case the snake comes, you can see. Yes, it is a small bird, but due to the protection, they try to win as they save their life. They have to work hard in order to save their life. You can see there is one just bringing another, busy building another one that side. That they keep on building to make more big nest, as it's a big bird. You can see that one still building. Yes, we can just, we'll hold over here for a while. See if we can get another exciting bird.
So we've come all the way to the western side of the property and arrived to this waterhole, which is the biggest waterhole in the whole of this property. To our surprise, there is absolutely not much happening here at all. But one of the reasons why we came up here, we got a report this morning from one of our anti-poaching planes saying that they saw a big pack of dogs on the southern side of this waterhole. So we just late in the afternoon, it's the time of the day where dogs are supposed to start hunting. So we came here hoping to see if we can maybe be lucky, catch up with these dogs maybe on the move already. It was said to be 17 dogs, which is a really, really big pack. Possibly, I don't know if it's a pack I've seen before or never seen before, but we haven't really had dogs in this side of the property for quite a while. We've got quite a small pack that's denning slightly north of our boundary, close to our neighbors, that even now and again we like it to see their tracks coming in and hunting, but that is a small pack of about 6 dogs altogether. So I was very highly excited, since dogs are my favorite animals to see, hoping that maybe we'll catch up with dogs on the move, and more so hoping that maybe it's a pack of dogs that have been denning somewhere, or that might have just recently moved a den. That's what I was hoping for. Right now, as it looks, in this water hole, there is no life whatsoever. I don't even see hippos today. And normally there's quite a big pod of hippos that live in this water hole. However, there is another small water hole slightly west of where we are now, which we're also gonna go check and see what's happening down there. We will be keeping our fingers crossed and hoping for some exciting action. And we keeping fingers crossed for an afternoon full of action, because if you're lucky enough to come across these dogs starting to hunt, it's the most exciting thing that could happen in a late afternoon like this, in particular because we haven't seen dogs for a while. I am very, very excited for that. And I hope that something will come out of this situation as we carry on, go along towards the other water hole to see what we can get. So Ananda, you and I both are really excited for this time, and I hope that something works out for us this afternoon, because that will possibly be my highlight of the week as far as safaris are concerned. I know we've been lucky with leopards jumping up trees, and we've been lucky with hyenas and all of that stuff, but dogs we haven't had in a while. So while we carry on with our mission of trying to see if we can find these dogs, we'll send you back to Phinda to go carry on nice action with the rhino up there.
Our rhino is still busy grazing his way up the slope, everybody. And just as we hoped, he's being bathed in the most glorious golden light as the sun starts to reach the western horizon. And quite a bit of action going on here as well, everybody. We're currently listening. We've been hearing alarm calls of impalas off to our west. So I wonder if there's not maybe another predator that's busy stalking through the grassland. But this massive rhino, completely unperturbed by those alarm calls, it's very unlikely that it would be something that he'd have to worry about. As we were discussing earlier, not too much that really threatens him out here, especially with him being in his prime and being as big as he is. Even a pride of lions would be very hard pressed to get the better of him. Again, it seems like he's found a particularly good patch of grass there to feed him. Listen to the sound of the sticks scratching against his sides. And the wind is dropping a little bit. Oh, listen, he's crunching again. Audio's gone. Busy feeding his way towards us. Oh, and every now and then you can just hear him breathing out through those big nostrils. Of course, it's tough work taking in as much grass as he is and then still having to breathe. So every now and then you can just hear that big exhalation of air as he breathes out of his nostrils. And remember we said we could hear him scratching, we could hear the bushes scratching against his side as he moved out of the thicket. Have a look at his flanks, everybody. See, have a look at those scratches that come down his flanks. Those white lines that run horizontally along his body from his shoulder towards his pelvis. And that will be what that's from. It's from walking past those sticks. while we continue to enjoy this magnificent rhino bull, let's head across to Tswalu to see what they've got for you.
Let's go. So we're just ambling along really quietly, really slowly, for any sign of lion cubs. We've got these tiny little cubs. They haven't been seen yet, and I think they may be in these quite dense thickets out to our left-hand side over here. So we'll have to just be really careful. There's been a lot of male activity, adult male lion activity in the area as well. So if we don't bump any sign of the cubs, then we'll just look for something else. Maybe the males. But I'm very relaxed this afternoon. I've got no agenda whatsoever. And as always, keeping our eyes open for any interesting birds for Gendre to see. Linda just asked, did I just say lion cubs? No, not at all. I didn't say lion cubs. I made no mention whatsoever of very small, tiny, cute little lion cubs. No, not at all. But yeah, it'll take a little bit of get my head around this. We'll find them at some point, not necessarily this afternoon, but we'll keep going. So all we're doing now is we suspect the cubs are in the block on the left-hand side here. So we're just going around it really slowly and carefully, checking for any sign of tracks that come in from the lioness or go out, because they can leave these cubs alone for 24, 48 hours sometimes. So, and we're pretty certain these cubs are in here. So now we're just trying to find any sign of a female track coming in. We've had 3 sets of male tracks moving into this block, but going out as well. So let us see what transpires.
Thank you. Welcome back. We're still right over here, Chitwa. We're facing the fish eagle, which is also facing in the water, where lots of sound coming from, the audio of all the different birds. So it's just the hunting, looking all directions where you can manage to. You can see now it's facing that other direction, which is a little bit outside in the water, but side of the water as well. So all the birds have got a very good eyes, more than everything. Especially the eagle. Also have got the martial eagle, which is the strongest eagle in Africa. So this one also the second largest eagle right over here in Africa. Also so a hunt for fish that cannot get wet once it's getting in the water. Can fly off after that. Earlier, I'm not really definitely sure the lifespan of a fish eagle, but it can live more than 5 years. I'm not definitely sure.
15, 20 maybe, big birds.
So, all I believe mostly the big birds, they can live more than 15, sometimes to 20 for the big birds, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay. We're gonna move soon to try something else. We've been here for a little bit longer, so I think we can manage to see something different rather than to stay right over here. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. We're going to leave this area soon, so you can see while we're moving, you can try to focus the fish eagle, how beautiful it is.
I am looking for Thandi. So we were in that block. It's just here, so I've just popped out to have a look on the road because the impala is starting to move off. Starting to alarm here and there, but if she was where we thought she was, she would have had plenty of time to get an impala there. She would have literally, or they would have literally been walking on top of her. But she didn't, so for me that says that she has moved. Not very much, if anything. Today has taught us that every time she moved, she ended up in a similar spot to where she was. She just took a bit of a loop. This is the impalas, same group. So now she's getting even better at the Thandi slip. Now she can give the Thandi slip within a block. So not just on the reserve, but within a block. You may get the Thandi slip. If the herd is moving, I'm sure Thandi will be moving too. That's why I'm getting out onto the road. Because when she's on the road, she gets the clearest view. And each time that she slipped into the bush, she ended up back on the road. Sassy Cassie, you'd like to know, do I think Thandi was actually hungry considering she didn't pounce? She would only pounce if she was close enough to an animal to know that she'd get it if the animal didn't react too quickly. So that's why I'm saying if she were there, she would have had an impala by now, but she hasn't. She's walked around. And she is sitting in this tall grass. In this tall grass, I mean, if you wouldn't be able to see her unless she was walking. So yes, I think she is hungry. She has a little one to feed. It's just a matter of, is she going to be successful? And she wants to put in as much energy to the most effective, successful hunt that she can. Anyway, I heard something about hornbill. Why don't you go and see?
So we have got a southern red-billed hornbill. Use the full name Michael. And we actually stopped because there was a little owlet that was being mobbed by a whole bunch of birds, including this southern red-billed hornbill. The owl has since flown off. It was a pearl-spotted owlet. You might hear it calling to the left of us. Oh, yeah. You see this? The hornbill keeps looking over. It is interested still in this owlet that was being mobbed. But this hornbill is using this last rays of sun. It actually dropped the temperature quite significantly in the last 10 minutes as the sun is reaching the horizon. And so it's using the last of these moments to get a bit of warmth on its belly and its crop to help digest any food that it has, and also to groom itself to make sure that it can be as clean as possible. You see all these other birds flying around. These are drongos that are busy flitting around this hornbill, and they are also mobbing the owl, which I still don't know where it's gone. But you can just see the drongo there on the right of your screen. Another awesome little bird. So Emma thinks drongos are the worst. I think they're the best. Well, I mean, they are the worst because they chase a lot of things away when we're trying to film them, like what it's doing right now. But they're also kind of like the policemen of the bush. I've often heard the students calling them the policemen of the bush because they tend to always be wherever there's nonsense going on. They will either be chasing owls or following behind the bigger animals or mobbing eagles and doing all sorts of stuff. So whenever the drongo's about, you know that there's going to be some action happening. So yeah, they're kind of cool. I like them a bit. They're not my favorite, as you heard earlier. Fish eagles are my favorite. Actually, the black-winged kite is my favorite, but this is so nice, actually, that we've got a bit of a bird party around us. There's lots and lots of birds flitting around, because there was at least 2 owlets that we heard calling. Now, of course, we've got sticks. We're very, very, very good at filming sticks over the last few days. Our bush babies and owls and everything have been eluding us. But our hornbill is still here, which is quite nice. It is still giving us a good view. See, it's actually doing a bit of a call now. Oh, of course, classic. So, there's a question about why do birds mob things? There's another hornbill far down the road there. The reason why birds mob things is because larger predators, if it was one bird by itself, it wouldn't be able to chase them away. But when the bird starts making this alarm sound, all the other birds also know that this is a dangerous bird for us. We need to chase it off, or a snake, or a mongoose, or whatever it is. And when they all come together, they're all able to chase that larger predator away without being worried that they'll get caught, because the predator has to now focus on many things. But also, a big eagle, let's say, sitting in a tree is not bothered by one drongo. But if there's 2 drongos and, 3 other different birds all around mobbing it, flying, pecking it, scratching it, the eagle's eventually going to say, well, this is not worth it, I'm going to move somewhere else. Because remember, they have sharp little claws. And the eagles, if it gets its eye scratched or something, it's a real big problem. So, yeah, that's why they mob things. Not just birds, as I said, snakes. Often I've found snakes in trees when there were drongos and other birds mobbing and making all sorts of noise in the tree. In fact, in our camps all the time, black mambas especially love being in the trees, and they'll get chased by lots and lots of things. So yeah, that's why birds mob things. Actually, really, really cool behavior. Not just birds, also mongoose will mob large animals. I've seen jackals being chased away by mongoose before, and large snakes also by mongoose. Dwarf mongoose are very, very good at mobbing things. And many other things as well. It's very nice and quiet here. Very close to a little bit of a drainage line, and we're going to go and see what's about.
WildEarth relies on support from viewers like you to carry on broadcasting our daily live shows. A small donation goes a long way in helping us on our mission to connect the world with nature. Please visit our support page to see how you can help and become part of the WildEarth family.
This big white rhino bull is still grazing. It's still moving from thicket to thicket, looking for the juiciest grass. And just speaking about drongos, everybody, just a short while ago, there was a fork-tailed drongo that was following this rhino around, kind of perched on prominent little sticks above or behind the rhino. And just imagine how, as this rhino walks, that massive body, as he pushes through the grass and as his head pushes into those thickets and as he crops up all the grass, imagine how all the little insects must panic and fly and scuttle away from him. And that's exactly what that little drongo was looking for. And often drongos will follow big herbivores like this rhino or like elephants, any large herbivores moving through the long grass. Very opportunistic little hunters. And still this rhino grazes peacefully. Those alarm calls have now stopped, everybody, so I think whatever was causing those impalas distress has moved out of the area. You might be able to hear a helicopter in the background, nothing to be alarmed about. It's just our veterinary team and conservation team that were flying over the reserve earlier today, heading back to base. Apologies for that, everybody. Oh, that's right. Did you see that? Did you see that? He just scratched the underside of his belly with his back foot. And it was such a quick movement. Talking about earlier, how we were talking about how they're so graceful. Lara Moore, talking about how, despite being so massive, they're still able to appear so kind of light on their feet. That was definitely an example of that. My word. I don't even know that. Scratch my stomach with my hand that fast. Maybe just a particularly irritating scratch. A fly that bit down a bit harder than the others. Or maybe a tick. One of the most amazing things about, obviously now I can't really see him too well as he disappears into the thicket there, but that skin on that belly of the rhino, in stark contrast to its back. Remember we spoke earlier about how as he pushes past those thorn bushes, he gets those lines kind of scraped into his skin from the bushes, and that's just like for us brushing past something. It doesn't hurt the rhino, because that skin is so thick and so tough. But the skin on the underside of the rhino, the inside of the legs, all very, very, very soft. And so he might have felt something there if there was, like I said, an irritating parasite or biting insect. HB, you're asking if rhinos ever make any noises. HB, they do. They make a lot of noises. They make snorting sounds. They make growling sounds. They make like snarling sounds. They make grunting sounds. And peculiarly, and this is for a person who's never heard the noise before, you would never know that it comes from a rhino because it doesn't sound like it's possible for this noise to have come from a rhino. But it's a high-pitched squealing sound. And now I'm going to do it very quietly so that I don't impact the rhino, but it kind of sounds a bit like this. It's a very high-pitched squealing sound, and it's often made, when it's soft like that, it's often made by calves when they're trying to get their mother to allow them to suckle. But it's also made in a much higher pitch and much more kind of agitated tone by adult rhinos. If they're in distress, for example, if two big bulls are fighting and the one is getting beaten up pretty badly, then it will make that squealing sound. So yes, quite a few different sounds that they make. And that's of course just the sounds that they make with their voice box. But then if there's also, I said earlier, they often make those lip smacking sounds. It can be quite funny to hear it. And even more funny to watch them make the noise. Those big square lips of theirs. As our rhino heads off into the distance, I think once we lose sight of him, everyone, we'll probably move out of the area. Maybe go past that mother cheetah and her youngsters just to make sure that they are still in the same place as they were earlier. Make sure that, well, to try and give ourselves the best possible chance of being able to find them again in the morning. Vic, oh, he's scent marking again, spraying his urine. Oh, luckily the wind has died down because it was blowing straight from that direction towards us. Imagine if we'd been caught in the spray of the urine. Vic, you say you love spending time with these chubby unicorns, as you put it. It's super special, and we're so glad that we're able to bring you images of these rhinos from andBeyond Phinda. They're just such a special creature, and although, I mean, we all know about their plight, and yeah, it's very special for us to be able to show them to you and to kind of help everyone around the world to develop a relationship or help them to form a connection with these incredible creatures. Such an important part of conservation is allowing people to form a connection with a species. Very, very, very special to have spent the amount of time that we have with this white rhino bull. I hope that you all got some fantastic screenshots from earlier. That was just insane earlier when he walked right up towards us. And with that last little glimpse of him, let's leave him to continue with his territorial patrolling for the evening. Like I said, we're going to go see if that mother cheetah and her youngster are still there. In the meantime, let's go across to Tswalu.
So, still nothing, but we are still not giving up. And it is absolutely a magical afternoon out here. The temperature is perfect. I'm actually so excited even now for the coming weeks, because very, very soon, where are we? We're now end of July, August. In another 5 weeks, all the acacias on Tswalu, all these thorn trees are going to be going into blossom, and this place is going to be an absolute wonderland of cream, yellow and pink blossoms. And over the coming days, I'll actually show you some of the trees that you can just start seeing the buds pushing out on even now. So this place is going to be transformed. You're not going to recognize it from where we are today to a couple of weeks time from now. So there's all these little things that we've still got to go through. I've still got to find you art wolf, African wildcats. I missed that one this morning, unfortunately, by a hair's breadth, but nonetheless, a miss is as good as a mile. We will get them. Caracal I want to try and find for you. Good daylight porcupines. Now we've got a lot to go through. And then when the rains come, then we get some cool, crazy plants coming out. We got these magnificent lilies that come out the ground called spider lilies, and they are they're triggered by rain, and even if the landscape is completely barren, you get these big white blossoms, beautiful, like the size of your hand, coming out the ground. This place is going to be unreal. I think from all the things that we've been able to show you so far, there's just so much still to be seen. And even where our colleagues are working, all those places, you're going to see this transformation as the rains kick in, yes. But firstly, lion cubs.
Okay, welcome back to Djuma Private Game Reserve. As we are still trying to relocate something special, we only find this one. It's a very, very good special for everyone and healthy for African people. So this is an elephant dung. An elephant dung, it is very, very, very good for us. It is antibiotic that you got all medicine over here. The elephant, it's eating all different trees and grass as well. They're eating everything beside the meat. And long time ago, there was no hospital, there was no clinics. So they're using all the trees to cure any disease. So of which means any natural disease, we can cure it. Besides those new artificial diseases, we can cure in Africa. So for elephant dung, as it is, if you look very carefully, there are some grasses, there are some leaves, there are some logs. That tells me that it's all about something roots. Because this one is a little bit older, the fresh one, it's got the reddish color, which is caused by the tannin. When it's eating those branches, when it's eating those roots for the trees, so it's becoming sort of an antibiotic. It's helped us about a headache. I don't have any lighter, I could light it and inhale straight away. It's good on headache, it's good on sinus, as well as flu. And if you have got a stomach ache, you can use this one. You get a fresh one, or evenly not a fresh one. You just get the old one, but you need to get a little bit more water. You cook it for a while, and then you drink it like a tea. Therefore, your stomach ache, it will be stopped as soon as possible. Nowadays, the elephant dung, it is on modern for the people who are too big. We call it fatty boom boom. Find out that person is too big like this. The belly is there, the arms is there. From here to there is tired. He can't walk long distance and is no longer happy through to each and every one. Once he's facing someone, he thought maybe they're looking at their structure, how he is. Therefore, by using the elephant dung, it's taking the appetite. It's a weightless. If you drink an elephant dung, you don't get hungry. Some, they said because the taste is not good. That's why I want a feeling to eat soon. But it takes the appetite away. But you will strong. You won't get hungry. You won't lose power. You will keep on strong, 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 while you are not eating, so therefore you lose the weight. It is a weightless. Now it is on modern, the elephant dung. So, but you don't have to use the elephant dung, which is from the zoo, because it's only eating one stuff. You're feeding them. But this one, it is 100% okay for everyone, because it's not feeding for everyone. It's eating itself, different trees. All the different trees becoming sort of antibiotics. Even if you got a hangover in the morning, you can inhale this one. You know, the hangover also causing the headache. So as it's causing the headache, it's a result for you to be sad. Okay.
So we have accepted that Thandi gave us the slip, and probably did so while we were still watching her in that block. So we left a while back, and then we came here and look at this. Aren't we lucky? So this seems to be a good time. You come to the den, we have Ribbon and her two little ones that now have names. We've got Ngwazi in the dominant suckling position against Mum, with Mum's paw over her, or over him rather. They both appear to be males. And then the one that's in the less dominant position is Shimbulu. There we go. And also this fabulous camera work is brought to you this evening by Theo, who is now seasoned, I think. How exciting is this? I'm so glad. It's been a wonderful day out here. Cindy, you say they're cuddling? Yes, they are. It's time for a bit of a cuddle. Everyone needs a bit of a cuddle. And some warm milk. Yes, please. Hyena milk, maybe not, but warm milk, yes. Such a cute, peaceful scene. It is so quiet out here. Just enjoying herself with her two little ones. Gianna, you say this is amazing, isn't it? Oh, I'm too happy. I've been spoiled today. Absolutely spoiled. In fact, we all have. They didn't even look at us when we pulled up. They're tucking into dinner so happily. little suckles. Amazing. Well, I'm sure after a bit of food, they'll be up and about playing, and we'll be here for it. Let me send you over to Damon, who's also a bit spoilt this afternoon.
Our mother cheetah and her two youngsters have not moved far, everybody, from where we left them earlier. When I say not moved far, they've moved maybe a meter, each of them in their own respective directions. But just look at how fat those tummies are. Oh my word. Especially that young male on the left. He has definitely put away a good bit of meat. I suppose typical of the boy in the family, taking all or scraping the bottom of the pot, I suppose. No wonder that impala was so well cleaned of all of the meat. Oh, and they've just got the most spectacular spot to rest here, everybody, out in the open. And I think that this is the spot that Mom has decided they're going to stay for the night. Candon, you're saying that you're so glad they got a meal. Candon, it's definitely good to see that they have eaten. And also, I'm very relieved that we've managed to find them again. Oh, look at the little bit of play going on. The little male biting his sister's leg and pushing against her legs now with his back paws. She is standing on him. Oh, Mom giving a bit of a stretch. I wonder if she's maybe decided, contrary to what I just said, that this is not going to be the best spot for them. She's maybe wanting to move them, maybe a bit out the wind. There's a bit of a stronger breeze that's blowing in from the northwest. And I wonder if she's not maybe going to move them behind a thicket, somewhere where they'll be out of the wind a bit more. Still a little bit of light. See how long it takes for the cubs to get up and follow her. A little bit reluctant to... Oh my word, look at his tummy as he walks. It's swaying from side to side. He's losing his balance. Oh, she was just... Well, there you go. Not too far. And I think they'll settle down here for the night. And hopefully not have moved too far in the morning so we can come back and catch up with them. We've certainly been very spoilt with this mother cheetah and her two youngsters over the last couple of weeks, so very glad to have been able to catch up with them again this afternoon. And for now we're going to leave them to their night, let them rest, and give them some time now before it gets completely dark to just take in their surroundings. So while we do that, let's head back across to those hyenas.
It seems that they have not quite gotten the... Who are you calling, Ruben? Mom got up and they were like, no, give me more milk. Now she's seen or heard something. You look good, my girl. And your two little ones look great, too. Oh, we're lying down like Mum does. They are very big compared to the last time I saw them. Who, you ask, Ruben? She can hear or smell another hyena. That's Corky's little one is making that. That little one thinks it's his mum or her mum calling. She's still there. So we can stay with the cubs for a little bit. Mary, you love learning how to speak hyena? Stick around, Mary. I bet you're a pretty good whooper. Okay, you're gonna watch the cubs while I watch her and make sure she's still around. How cute were those little whoops, guys? I just want to be quiet so we can all learn to speak hyena a little bit. Just listen to their wonderful little sounds. Hello, my little friend. Hi. Hi. Come on, you can walk through too. Your mama's still there. There it comes. Oh no. Tyre's tasty. Tyre's not good. No, no. These guys are so curious. Hey, Poppet. No, baby. Hey. Too cute. So much mischief and play. Just love it. It's so important for them to investigate these big chunks of metal that come to visit them. They have such an amazing sense of smell. That they need to take a lot of cues from that. And they need to smell us, they need to smell the vehicle so that they can be familiar with it. Sassy Cassie, you'd like to know what hyena sounds not bring predators to the den. It shouldn't, because they're... Where are these? There's two little ones underneath the car now. It shouldn't. It's a way for the hyenas to communicate with each other, and predators don't usually run to the hyena call. It's more like hyenas running to predator calls. And that really just happens to be at the same time. Alarm calls. It just happens to be at the same time. Because usually animals are calling and they use their nose to sniff out maybe a carcass. Okay, I'm going to... So they smell a carcass, and it corresponds with the calling of animals, and then they move toward it. So it's not, you know, particularly related. I am going to send you over to Dylan while I figure out what these little ones are doing underneath my vehicle.
So, no luck yet. Not even a fresh sign of tracks of that female or the cubs. So we've moved away from that area now, and we're just scanning these big open grasslands for any sign of aardvark or pangolin. We've also got this beautiful rocky ridge on the left-hand side that maybe, if we're lucky, something like a African wildcat or a caracal. Caracal love these hills at this time of day because it's nice and warm. These west-facing slopes. And again, it's just that sense of expectation that you never know what you're going to find. You know, we could be looking for lions and something else rocks up, eh? And I think that's, for me, is one of the biggest enjoyments about doing these kind of things. And sharing it with people. That's always a biggie, eh? Trisha has asked, why does it feel like there's not a lot of lions on Tswalu? There are lots of lions, but remember, these areas it's a completely different habitat to those areas where our colleagues are working. So the Kalahari, this environment that we're in, you would term a low density, big game area. So if you take the extent of Tswalu, if you had to superimpose that on the Lowveld as an example, you would have just thousands upon thousands more animals in those environments, because it's not as arid, so it's not as dry. It gets a much higher rainfall, and therefore your vegetation can support a lot more game, and as a consequence of that, you can get a lot higher predator densities. Lions is one example. If you compare our leopards as an example to so we just got some oryx here. If you compare our leopard densities to the Lowveld where our colleagues are working. Oh, okay, sorry, we're losing our signal a bit, so we're going to send you over to Ngala for the moment.
So we just had a female leopard that's walking across the bank onto the other side. We're going to try and quickly go around to catch up with her. She's quite a big female and she looks quite old, but to my surprise I cannot identify her, so I'm not 100% sure which one. It was quite brief, but we are trying to move around to see if we can quickly get onto the other side. Maybe she'll walk on the road and we might be able to catch up with her. So just hold tight and hopefully we'll catch her on the other side. She's already busy marking a territory on the move, so she wasn't moving too fast and she's not nervous at all. So it's one of the females we definitely get to see every now and again, so she's used to vehicles. But we'll see when we get into the other side. It will be really nice if we can catch up with her again once we get there. Doesn't look like we're going to be able to move quite quickly to get anywhere with this nice thick sand in the riverbed. Vehicles taking a little bit of strain, but hopefully by the time we get onto the other side, that leopard will be walking on the road, hopefully. So while we drive around, we're going to send you back to go see the hyenas in the meantime and see if we can maybe be able to catch up with her on the other side. Hopefully we will see you shortly with the leopard on our side.
Still so many sounds. that rhythm of the whoop is already set in place there. Oh, they're coming running past again. This is one of the difficulties we have at the den, is that we can't shoot them when they are underneath our vehicle or at the tires. It also means I can't move because I don't know where they are. Lovely, Ngala's got some views of that leopard. Let's go see.
Oh, we managed to be lucky to catch her on the move again on the other side of the river. But she seemed to be marking every single big tree and big bush that there is around. And she looks like she's heading back into the thick bush, possibly down towards the riverbed again. It's just territory that she's walking on. She will be in a territory where she's another female also marks. So it will be interesting to see how long we're going to have her for. It looks like she's disappearing back down. Again, we had a good view, but she's moving quite fast. I don't know which female it is, but she is constantly marking as she goes. So she's definitely a dominant male also of this area. She might be right on the corner where her territory and Shitsalana female's territory overlaps, but I have not seen her in this area in quite a while. So she's disappeared into the thick bush, again down towards the river. I doubt we'll be able to catch up with her on the other side. So we're also seriously excited to see her. It was really nice to see a leopard we don't often get to see. So hopefully maybe in the next drive or so we might be lucky to catch up with her again. But as it is now, we're going to drive around and see if we get a glimpse of her crossing the river, we'll stop again. But otherwise, it was really, really nice to see her. So while we try and have one last look to the other side, if we'll be that lucky, I'm going to send you back to those noisy hyenas that you had earlier on.
They are, in fact, noisy, but they've quietened down just a little bit. They had a little bone that was very, very interesting. There it is. Shame, I feel a little bad for Corky's cub. I feel like Ribbon might have been calling Corky and saying, hey, your baby's here. You want me to take care of it? Nuh-uh. And that poor baby probably thought Mum was coming along. Linda, you said you were wondering if Ribbon was calling Corky to feed her cub. Of course I don't know, and we don't know. But I suppose it's a theory. The cub was responding. But it's more that the cub was responding to an adult's call. And she calls like this when they're calling their cubs. Or they're calling other hyenas. You'll see when the cubs are in the den and she wants them to come out, she'll go right to the den entrance and make that sound. Such an interesting toy. I mean, it's long, it's hard, it's tasty, it smells good. You want to bring it down to TRISHALA? I wish they would see me as an auntie. Yes, it is. It's everything I would want in a toy. Couple of sharp edges. Just a perfect for a 4-month-old little one. Ribbon is still calling, still calling. I'm sure other members of the clan will arrive soon. She wouldn't be calling for nothing. Calling and making any type of sound like that would be a form of communication. So she's trying to communicate with somebody, and it's not these two cubs. Rosemary, you're like, you say Corky's like, I've got other plans. Come on, Corky. Get your priorities in order. Can't be out gallivanting at this hour. It's milk truck time. I don't know if you remember that period when Corky got attacked by the evoker male. She was not seen for a week, maybe even more. And we all thought that Plonk was going to die at that time from just simply starving. But somehow she had been feeding him, coming back and feeding him at a time when we didn't know about it, because he was healthy and playful and out. So it is very likely that Corky's cub is getting fed, just at a time when we don't see it. Gorgeous spotty little beans. Oh, that was a good bite. Sibling interaction is just something special, whether it's human or hyena, puppies, whatever it is. I just love watching sibling interactions. Too sweet. Well, Ribbon's just sat herself down not too far from here. So we're gonna stick around and see what happens, see if Corky arrives, but I'll send you over to Barney, see if he's managed to get another glimpse of that leopard.
So we tried back into the riverbed. It seemed like that female is walking parallel to the river. She hasn't come back down into the riverbed. But what an awesome day. We starting with the Tswalu young male and ending with a female that we didn't identify. And it was a successful afternoon indeed as far as leopards are concerned. And we are gonna try and drive parallel to the river a little bit more on our way down back towards camp and see what else we can find for the afternoon. But it was truly a successful afternoon indeed, with heads of elephants and many leopards. We didn't really have any luck with the dogs we were hoping for earlier on. But I'm quite excited to see in the next few days, 2 weeks, what's going to happen, because if they're coming all the way to that big dam to hunt, there is a chance that they might be starting to move dens. Maybe they're going to move there, which will be exciting if that happens. Yeah, we're hoping hard, so let's see. Stay tuned with us every morning and afternoon and see. Maybe if we'll be lucky again to see a glimpse of dogs, or we'll be lucky to catch them on a hunt, or if they move the den, that will be also quite epic. This time of the year, most dogs have got pups where they are, so it is an exciting time of the year as far as dogs viewing are concerned. Unfortunately, we didn't have that much luck this year on having them denning in a property, but things change, we might be able to see them when they start moving around. So stay tuned. So while we carry on with our mission to try and get back down, we will send you over to Dylan, who has been looking for wildcats, and see how that search has gone.
Stop and talk shit. Yeah, it's been a fairly quiet drive, unfortunately, in terms of cats, but you know what? I don't mind. I'm quite happy not seeing anything being cats, because some people, if you don't see lions or elephants or leopards or buffalo or rhino or something massive or something cute and cuddly, then they'll say they haven't seen anything. It always amazes me how you drive down, like in some reserves in South Africa, and it's like, did you see anything? No, we didn't see anything. Okay, did you see impala? Yeah, we saw impala. Did you see zebra? Yeah, we saw zebra. What about lots of birds? But no, they still didn't see anything. So whenever you're out in these kind of environments, it just means you've actually just got to slow down and start absorbing what's around you. The grasses, the dune bushes, the helichrysums, the rus, the shepherd's trees, the raisin bushes, the geology of an area, the overall landscape, the whole ecology of the system is what counts. And the bonus parts are when we do see things like the cute and cuddly, the lions, the leopards, the meerkats, that kind of stuff. That's all part and parcel of it, but they're only tiny little parts of the sum of the whole. And who cannot enjoy being in these environments, regardless of if you're seeing something, well, the perceived something or not? I just enjoy being outside, and that is where I'm absolutely happiest by a long shot. So I've sold my desk, I've sold my office, sold my long pants. No, but it is so beautiful out here. I mean, and look at these landscapes down the bottom there. If I climb off, you can't get better than that. It's just, this diversity is just absolutely stunning, stunning, stunning.
Still a lot of noise going on. Oh, did you hear that response? Distant whooping. Sounds like a youngster though. Not this young a youngster though. Amazing, guys. What an awesome drive we've had. I've truly been spoilt. How was that? Yeah, just spoiled today. I had a beautiful Ellies this morning, hyena cubs today after so long, and Thandi. We've had an awesome day. Gorgeous sounds of the African bush. Well, thank you all for jumping on board. It is that time. We'll see you in the morning. So thank you for your questions and your comments. See you in the morning.